Good afternoon. I'm videotaping this interview because I really like to share how it was or is to be an expat. First of all, can you introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, I'm Luc. I work for Nokia already since 32 years now. And as an expat, we have lived with the family in 6 or 7 different countries. Altogether, around 10 years in total, I guess, more or less.
Okay, so you were an expat for years. In which countries have you lived for more than 6 months, and which do you like the most?
Well, we started off in China in 1986, and after that we went in 87 and 88 to Turkey. And next came Australia, so we have been in Sydney for 3 years in 91 to 93. And then I was in Germany for 2 years, but that does not really count because I came back home over the weekend, every weekend. And then 98 till 2000 we were in Texas, in the United States. And the last one was in New Zealand, 2007 to 2009.
Okay, which country did you like the most?
I think New Zealand was fantastic. I would take that one.
Okay, so maybe we should base the interview on that one.
Okay.
What have you done there? What brought you there?
Well, what brought me there, a bit of an unusual thing. My boss at the time here in Antwerp sent information around about a vacancy in New Zealand and asked if we knew anybody interested. And well, actually I was interested. So I applied, and after some interviews I got the job. So we went to New Zealand, and I led there a team of between 40 and 60 engineers, and we designed all the network solutions in the network of Telecom New Zealand.
Okay, was it difficult to integrate into the new society?
Actually not really. First of all, it was not our first country. We had done many countries before. And as a result, well, you learn a lot of things each time you go somewhere, and you start to know what to do and what not to do, and what is needed and not. So it went relatively easily. In addition, New Zealand is I would say, normal Western country, like in Europe. So there is not all that much difference with what we have here.
Okay, so you didn't. So how was the daily life going out there?
Actually, very similar to what you have here. You get up in the morning and then you take the car or the train into work, and you work all day, and in the evening you go home and you watch on TV and the normal stuff. And in the weekends, well, we try to be away as much as we can to see as much as possible of the country.
Yes, of course.
So as a result, it does not feel really like work, although you do many hours there, more actually than here, but still, it doesn't really feel like work. It's good.
Have you noticed a lot of cultural differences between?
Yeah, well, there are, like I said, there are a lot of things similar to here, because it's a Western country, but there are some differences, yeah. First of all, New Zealand consists of 2 people. You have the Maori, who are the original inhabitants of the country, and you have the settlers, mostly British or Irish or Canadians, that have come there in the last 2 centuries. They form now the majority, so technically they could just do away with everything Maori, but that does not happen. You see there a complete equality of the 2 cultures in everything. Let me give an example. When you hear New Zealand sing their national hymn at any sports event, you will always hear that being sung in 2 languages, always, by everybody. So it's different from here, where you sing or in Flemish, or in French, or mostly not at all.
Okay, have you felt the difference between being an expat or being a native?
Yeah, it remains a bit different. You get integrated, of course, after some years there, it gets better and better. But Well, you always remain an expat, huh? And especially in New Zealand, the islands are so far away from everything else. The nearest country is Australia, and it takes 3 hours flight to get to Australia. If you start here in Belgium, with 3 hours flight, you cover most of Europe. So as a result, New Zealand is a lot on their own, and they have the feeling that everything they do themselves, they do better. So being an expat, obviously you're not doing better. So it takes some work to get on the good side.
To adapt, yes.
Yeah.
How was life in the company? You said it's similar to the Western country, also in the company itself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I work for Nokia, which is a multinational company. So we have an international setup structure. So New Zealand is in fact nothing different than Belgium, in the sense they are a part of the same international structure. So it's hardly any different.
Okay, did you like the culture in New Zealand?
Yeah, a lot. There are a lot of good things there. I already spoke about the Maori culture, which is, that's of course very different from ours. It's very ancient. But for the rest, they are more British than the British, I think. In summer, it's cricket time. Cricket is a very weird game if you don't know how it's played. In winter, it's rugby time, and then it's just that. But for the rest, cultural things are very similar to here. You can go to the same or similar rock concerts than you can go here, or to all sorts of things. The rest is very similar.
Can you tell us something about one of their traditions that you...
Well, I'll tell you one Maori tradition and one, let me call it, British style tradition. The formal greeting with Maoris is they touch noses. They do that. Maybe you saw our king visiting New Zealand not that long ago, and he also did that with the king of the Maoris. That's not a special thing, of course. New Zealand, being part of the British Empire, is still having the British Queen as their queen. So they don't have an own king or president or anything. They have the Queen of England as their queen. But the Maoris, they have a king. But he is totally, he has no official function or anything. He's just a figure with a moral authority, but with no political authority. But if you then look at the other side, so the more British side, if you think about rugby, for example, the concept of different sides on a field where the home team sits and then the visiting team sits, that does not exist. Everybody's mixed up. They're all waving different flags through each other, and they're all having fun together, and they all go together for a beer afterwards. It's so much different. There are maybe 5 policemen in the entire stadium, but they are there for traffic direction and not for maintaining the peace. It's so much different.
So they appreciate each other very well.
I would think so. I'm not going to say that everything is 100% rosy. They have their difficulties in society as well, of course. They also have people who have difficulty to keep up with society. It's everywhere like that. Maoris get a lot of opportunity, but they also have their share of difficulty. So it is not 100% rosy, but on average I would say yeah.
So you're very positive about being an expat. Would you recommend it?
Absolutely. I would recommend being an expat because that in itself is fun, and I would definitely recommend New Zealand.
Okay. Do you have any tips for potential expats?
I would say try to adapt to the local culture to some extent. You don't need to become a Chinese or anything, that's not the intention. But if you speak a bit of the language, that's always very much appreciated. It's of course not difficult in New Zealand where they speak English, but I mean, In other countries, it's very much appreciated if you speak some of the language, and you make it easy on yourself and on your environment and everyone around you if you do a bit like the locals do. Don't insist on fries every day. Some countries don't have that. It's okay, good, yeah, that's what it is.
Try to adapt.
Try to adapt, yeah, yeah.
Okay, if you have to say one word about how you experienced those adventures, what would it be?
I think I go with exciting.
Exciting, I thought so. Okay, thank you very much for your time. It was nice to meet you and it was very interesting.
Heb je wel?
Ik denk